Hello pilots and ground crew, welcome back to my channel. Well, if you're watching this, it's because you want to build an 18650 pack for your quad, or maybe your plane, because they do work brilliant on planes. You get a lot longer flight times on planes. And you've never made one before, or you won't be watching this video. The first thing I'm going to say, is I'm not taking any responsibility. If you decide to make one of these, and you wire it up wrong and it goes bang, that's your fault. What I've done is, because I've been asked a few times actually to make this video, quite a few times, last year and this year. I'm doing it super simple, super basic, because like I said, if you're watching this, you've never made one before, I'm going to take you through every single step, every stage of making one very slowly. And stage one, is which batteries to use. Now, don't skimp out on your batteries. There's a lot of fakes out there. I'm not affiliated to this website, this shop. It's called 18650 UK. I believe the ship abroad. I could be wrong. I'm not 100%. But the batteries you can pick up anywhere. I'm not affiliated in any way. Now, for your bigger models, this is for a 5-inch quad, and I'm using these particular batteries you're looking at now. The bigger, the bulkier, and the too heavy for, say, your 3-inch or your 4-inch quads. They're too heavy. For your 3 and 4-inch quads, wrong way. Where the hell's that picture? There it is. Use these. A lot of places recommend these actually. They're smaller. They're about a per pack of 4. They're about 130 plus grams lighter than this pack. You put 4 of them together, they're about 130 grams lighter than these. So that's why this with the XT60 is for my 5-inch quads. Hi pilots, George from the future here. I've just made a big blob, 130 odd grams lighter. What a plonker. No, they're about, when you put all 4 together, the ones for the 3 to 4-inch models, they're about 50 grams, give or take, 40, 50 gram lighter per pack. Just thought I'd clarify that. Okay then, back to the video. Now, like I said, links in the description to these. Don't skimp on your batteries. There's too many fakes out there, Don't buy them off eBay. Oh, I've seen that exact type, George, on eBay for £2.50 each, and yours are £6.90. They're gonna be fake. I'll tell you that right now. They're gonna be fakes, Here at the bottom, you can see these are tested. They put it in writing, They're not worried about getting sued. Because they know they're 100% genuine, they're all tested and everything, So don't buy fakes, don't buy cheap. You're building something that could go bang, Spend a little bit more money, it's worth it in the long run. Not to mention you'll get longer flight time, longer flight time. I'll let you take a quick look at this, even though you've probably been staring at the specs, They're both practically the same. A 3000 milliamp, discharge 15 amp, but a continuous a 30 amp, and that one, the big one, is 30 amp full stop. The only difference is the size and weight. Right there, now let's just go back over here. If I can get my picture back up. There I am. Unfortunately. Yeah, so we'll jump down to the table, to the workbench, or jump up, seeing as it's upstairs. And what I'm going to do is, yes, this is the big one for with the XT60 on for my 5-inch quads, but I'm going to show you which will be the more common, the smaller one. They're exactly the same. Don't matter whether you're making both the big batteries or the small batteries. You put them together exactly the same way. Okay. There is one thing I'll cover really quick. if you're going to make loads and loads and loads of these, get yourself a spot welder, right? But get a decent one, right? Yeah, I've seen them for 25, 30 quid. They're no good, don't go near them. You want to be paying about £300, right, to get a decent spot welder, right? But if you're just going to be making a few of these, do it my way, right? Do it my way. Right then, let's jump to the bench and I'll take you through a super simple, super basic, but detailed way of putting them together and building your own lion packs, right, for not long, well, long flight times. The long range part only comes in if you've got a good VTX and a good receiver. Okay then, pilots and ground crew, let's jump to the weight bench. Jump shot. Okay then, right, as I said, it can be very dangerous, right, making your own packs up, getting your 18650, soldering your wires up and all like that. It can be very dangerous to do. So if you're going to do this, right, follow these instructions. I'm going to make it super simple, alright, but I'm going to make it as detailed as I can. So if this video goes on for a bit, I do not apologise for that, because these 18650 packs can blow, right, and you can have one hell of a fire if you wire something up wrong. However, at the same time, more and more people want to know how to make them, for the simple reason they're getting very expensive to buy, right, and then getting them shipped, right, and actually finding somewhere that'll sell them, because I mean 9 times out of 10 any UK based companies are always out of stock, so you have to get them from America or somewhere, and then you've got the added shipping and stuff like that. So that's why more and more people are making them. However, like I said, it can be very dangerous, so please follow the instructions. Now, with that being said, I've done 5 quick little pages just to show you at the beginning of this, right, so you could pause it, paste the pictures, cut, copy, paste, use the snipping tool and make copies yourself, because it's super important. So let's just go through these pictures first. Right, when you lay out your batteries in front of you, right, these will be the top, as in where, for argument's sake, your XT60 is gonna go, right, and obviously this is the bottom. Okay, the word top sort of gives it away. Stupid boy George. And your first battery, right, plus to minus. The second battery, minus to plus. In other words, at the top you want plus, minus, plus, minus. Very important to lay your batteries out this way for starting, which you'll see when I actually do it myself. Right then, second picture, battery still laid out in the same position as the first picture, but this is where you're going to be joining your batteries together. At the bottom you'll be joining battery 1 and battery 2, battery 3 and battery 4 separately, and battery 2 and battery 3. This is where you'll be joining them. Now I'll jump in really quick here, right. Yes, you can get a piece of wire, right, cut it down and use that to join the batteries together, but I do not recommend that at all. Get yourself, right, and these are cheap, they're not expensive, right. I'll leave links in the description to all the bits and pieces. These little soldering plates, you know when your brain goes dead, I can't remember. There's links in the description, right. You got 50 in a pack here, and it only takes 1 to make 1 pack, so I can make 50 bloody packs out of this. Well, not that many now because I've used some, but get yourself some of these soldering plates, right. You'll see how they work pretty soon, but you may have seen these before in other videos, right. Don't use the wires because you're burning too much heat actually into your batteries, but we'll cover that later. This is just so you can go through it. So the top will be 2 and 3, the bottom will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, right, next picture. Alright, this is what it'll look like from the top. You'll just have battery 2 and battery 3 joined together from the top at this point. We missed one. And from the bottom, you'll have battery 1, 2 and 3 and 4 joined together from the bottom. As you look at the pack from the bottom. Like I said, that will be more explained during the actual construction. Like I said, I wanted to do this so in case you wanted to use the snipping tool or something and copy these pictures so you've got a record. Now when you get to your balance lead, alright, your balance lead, which obviously you need, from the top of the battery, alright, well you can, I'll tell you what, a balance lead, I'll put that down, it's bloody wrote here. Alright, your balance lead, your red wire, alright, goes to the top of battery 1. Right, the next 3 wires go in order, battery 1, 2 and 3. However, battery 1, cable 1 from the balance lead goes to battery 1 at the bottom of battery 1. Cable 2 of the balance lead goes to battery 2 but at the top. And cable 3 goes to battery 3 but at the bottom. So 1 and 3 is at the bottom, 2 is at the top, and the very last one goes to battery 4. Now battery 1 and battery 4 is where you'll be connecting your XT60, XT30, whatever, and it'll be going red to red, black to black, and we'll run out of pages. Okay, I just wanted to show you them. So like I said, you can cut, copy, paste or whatever you want with them. Now we'll start moving on. Here's your differences from what you saw in the picture earlier on, and I'll start to zoom in a bit now. Alright, your first battery I showed you, which was this one, from the beginning of the video. Alright, it's your bigger one. Alright, it's still 3000, right, but it's your bigger one, and this is great for your 5-inch quads. Alright, this is your smaller one, what you saw at the beginning of the video in the intro. Alright, and this is for your 3-inch, 4-inch quads. They're a lot thinner. If I go like that, you'll probably get a better gist. And these ones are a lot lighter. Okay. Right, so let me just put this one away for another day. I will say right now, when you're not using them, keep them in the containers. Right, just keep them in the container. They all come in bloody containers. Don't leave them loose rolling about. Right, you're asking for an accident. Okay then. Right, I was going to use a smaller battery to make one up with the XT30, but I need another XT61, so 2 birds, 1 stone. Plus with these being a bit bigger, you can see them a bit better. Right, first job. Right, get a piece of sandpaper and just rough up the edges, because you're going to be applying some flux and some solder. Alright, so you're just roughing up both edges of the battery, just so it grabs the flux and grabs the solder. This is just to catch the bits. Now there is a thing called soldering acid that you can, so you don't have to do this stage basically. Yeah, it basically sticks to anything, this soldering acid, but I don't recommend you using it. If you want to, fine, but it's very toxic. They advise you to either do it like outside or wear one of them like ventilator mask things and stuff. So for me, I'd rather just get a bit of sandpaper, scruff up the edges and use a bit of flux. So yeah, do all 4. I'll just get on with this now rather than talking. Right, now remembering them pictures from the beginning, you want to lay out your batteries plus, minus, plus, minus. Alright, I'll zoom in a bit. Well, actually at this stage there's nothing really to see close up. Right, now because you've never built one before, right, or you won't be watching this video, right, for like, as a reminder, right, you don't want to make a mistake doing this, as I've said, because you start wiring these things up wrong, you can have a fire, right, and that's the last thing you want, right. So this is battery 1, 2, 3 and 4. Alright, so take a permanent marker, because after you've made a few of these you won't have to do this, it'll be second nature to you. But let's just play it along the lines of super simple, super basic. Alright, take a permanent marker, find a good blank piece, alright, and just write a number 1 on your battery and add an extra plus and an extra minus, so I know that's battery 1 plus a minus there, and go along and do the same, and then you can never get these mixed up. Alright, so we'll have minus at the top this time, plus at the bottom, and this is battery 2, because when you start putting the batteries together and you're starting to put the wires through, you can get confused and get somewhat mixed up. So this is just an extra little tip. Like I said, once you've made a few of these, you don't need to do this, but for your very first one, do this. Right, it will help so you don't make mistakes. Right, so that's your order of your batteries, and as long as you keep them numbers to the outside, there's no way you can make a mistake. Right, I'll start zooming in a little bit here now. Hopefully that's good enough and you can see that and it's all in focus. Trying out a new tripod overhead thing and it's just getting the kinks out. Right. Whatever you like, whether it be a wooden vise or whatever, but I just knocked up a piece of spuff foam with tape round to hold them in place. Now if you remember, battery 1, I'll just get my soldering iron turned on to get going. Just getting my soldering iron heating up and turn it to the max. Don't be scared to have your soldering iron on too high. Turn it to the max because you want to be in and out as quick as you possibly can. You don't want a lot of heat. You don't want to hold your soldering iron on for a long time. Right, now if you remember from the beginning, we're going to solder battery 1 and 2 at the bottom, battery 3 and 4 at the bottom. So we'll do that first. We'll move 3 and 4 out the road, maybe put them over there, and we're going to be joining 1 and 2 but at the bottom. So turning them over, plonking them in your little homemade device, whatever you're using. This works great for me. You're going to need a bit of flux. Like I said, you can get something called soldering acid and you'll just put a blob on, but I don't recommend it. It's very toxic stuff. It's much easier. Oh, one thing I will say is just wipe the top of your batteries, right, in case from when you were sanding them down, in case there was a bit of dust. In fact, it's good practice to do all sides. I'll just do these other batteries while we're at it, just in case there was a bit of dust from the soldering. Alright, but yeah, so right, so a bit of flux. Alright, if you've got a flux pen, even better. You don't need loads, there's too much on there, so I'm spreading it about, taking some off. Spreading that about, taking some off. There was way too much on there. Get your soldering iron nice and hot, and also get a nice wide tip on your soldering iron. Don't use a thin little tip like we do when we're wiring up. flight control boards and things like that. You want a nice big tip. Alright, load up your tip. Now this is important because you don't want to be holding your soldering iron on them batteries for a long time, or the heat transfers into the batteries and it can start to damage the cells. So load up. My hands are a bit shaky today. I'm on tablets and sometimes they make my hands shaky, so this is not really the perfect day, but load up your solder, load up your tip of your soldering iron, and if I can get balanced, that's it. Oh, I'm just going in and out. Like I said, my hands are a bit shaky today, so if you notice though, I'm lifting off and on, off and on. I'm not just leaving my tip on there. That'll do. Alright, you'll be able to do that a bit better if your hands aren't shaking, but my hands are a mess today because of these particular tablets I'm taking. Not to mention, my right wrist got snapped in 4 places a long time ago, and holding stuff like this is very awkward for me. Let me just concentrate. That'll do. Right. Maybe just wipe that down, too much flux on there. Just going to put a lid on. No, actually that's plenty. Right, I've already cut some of these little nickel strips to size. Just line that up. Perfect. And load up your soldering iron again, because once again you want to be in and out here. You don't want to be messing about, you want to be in and out. And an easy thing to do so you don't burn your fingers, is get like a lollipop stick or something, and you just go in on top of the metal strip. My bloody wrist, can't keep my bloody wrist still. I think that got it anyhow. Yeah, that got it. Right, I'm just concentrating here because as you can see my wrist is all over the place and my hands shaking. And before you say you drank too much, I don't drink. I ain't had a drop of alcohol for years. That was a better one, that was perfect. I'm just going to put an extra little blob of solder on that first one, the one I messed up. There, done, perfect. That's what I should have done first time, but as you could see, my frigging wrist, yeah, this wrist here, 4 places, right, and I have a lot of trouble with it, and with the bloody tablets I'm taking as well. Right, so that's your first one. And as you see, I kept the numbers to the outside, so if I did get mixed up, I can always refresh myself. Right, and now the next batteries. Now remember, they go in order, we've numbered them, right, and you want the bottom, so it's this side going up to solder. Once again, a bit more flux. Right, we'll line that up there then. So we've got at the bottom, joined up at the bottom, 3 and 4 is joined at the bottom, 1 and 2 is joined at the bottom. Now 2 and 3 need to be joined at the top. But before that, what I like to do, you could just use a bit of tape. Oh,
I just like to put a blob of hot glue down the centre, just to hold them in place. Now that's going to take a couple of seconds to go hard, so we'll do a quick jump shot. Right then, that's dried up quite well. Just a quick recap, we've just soldered 1 and 2 together and 3 and 4 together at the bottom, and just put some hot glue. Now if you remember, number 2 and number 3 want joining at the top, so this way. Alright, number 2 and number 3. I'm going slow because you can't make mistakes with things like this, or I've already said they'll go bang. Alright, so we're just going to turn them so 2 and 3 is facing me, putting them into our little case, and I know it's the 2 that's facing me that need joining, so a bit more of the old flux. That's good. And now this side. Right, now that's good. Yeah, right. At this point, don't forget now, they're still not joined all together. They can still move about, if you know what I mean. So we want to get some more hot glue down the sides that are open. So just grab my hot glue gun again. Just as my bloody stick runs out. Typical bloody hot glue gun stick runs out. Don't worry if this is messy, you're never going to see it because it's all going to be wrapped in heat shrink. That side's done, that side's done, so it's just the bottom now. Just give that a second. Now that side. Right, now before anything else, I'm just going to give that about 3 or 4 minutes just to dry 100%, and then we'll move on to the next bit. So you don't want to sit here for 3 or 4 minutes, so another jump shot. Okay then, right, that's the hot glue all dried up and everything, and everything's locked in place now. And all our little nickel plates are on. That's all the joining of the batteries together you have to do. You don't have to join any more together. Now it's a case of connecting up your balance lead and your power lead. Now remembering this is the top, because if you remember the top only had one thing connected, and because we wrote numbers on, the numbers are facing upwards, they're not upside down, in other words, right? So we know that's the top. And the only batteries where nothing on them is battery 1 and battery 4, right, which is for your live and your ground for your power. Right, but first of all we're going to connect up before, well actually, can you? I don't suppose it makes any difference which one you connect on first. So yeah, we'll do the power cable first. Right, we'll do the power cable first. So once again I forgot to bloody turn my soldering iron right back up again, but yeah, we'll do the power cable first. Now that's where it's a good idea for your numbers as well, look, because you know number 1 is red and number 4 was the black. So number 4 is black, which is minus, and number 1 your red, which is positive. So when it comes round to connecting this, you go into plus to minus, minus to plus, if that makes any sense. Hope so. Right, follow along, do it slowly. Right, a bit of flux, way too much, but we can take some off. Right, at this stage you want to figure out, right, sorry, you want to figure out which way you want your connector. Alright, is it going across? Well, you know what I mean? So which way you're going to mount your battery? Because the last thing you want to do is get all this put together and then it won't reach. It won't actually reach, because these are different sizes to your lay putters. I've already checked mine. Alright, so I know having it that way down, right, will reach my connector on my quad. Okay, right, let's put some solder on these batteries. Just clean that tip again and then fill it up. I hope you can see that. I'm just going in and out, in and out. I'm putting a bit extra on here because, well, there's your two cables for your XT60 and your XT, or your XT30. Right. Just clean that tip again. Alright, loading plenty of solder on my tip, because once again you don't want to be in here long. Right, that's good. Put a bit more solder on my tip. I keep saying the tip, I hope you know I'm talking about about the soldering iron tip. Right. Yep, happy with that. Right, so we're nearly there. What we need now is, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit for this so you can see a bit better. What we need now is your balance lead. Alright. Your red, if I turn it that way you'll see better. The red from your balance lead is going to go to your red on your power cable. The last black I know this is white, but don't worry about it. The last black is going to go to your battery, right, your minus on your power lead. Now if you remember them pictures right at the beginning, right, which if not, go back to the beginning. Right, as you're looking at them this way, your first balance lead goes to battery 1, your second one goes to battery 2, and your third one goes to battery 3. Right, your first one goes to battery 1 at the bottom, the third one goes to battery 3 at the bottom, and the second one goes to battery 2 at the top. But that was quite made out very clear in them pictures at the beginning. Okay, and I've put them pictures away so I can't just go grab one without pausing, so I'm not going to do that. Alright, so I'd like to start with the first one, which is going to the bottom on battery 1. Alright, so if we just from the top slide it down and through, just make a bit of, there you go. Alright, now battery 1 was, I'm confusing myself here. I say I'm glad I put them numbers on. I've done enough of these, of course it's red. Battery 1 is where the red is. I've lost my cable now. Oh, right, sliding it through. Just getting, that should be long enough, and it's going to there, so I'm just marking out where to cut the cable. Cut the balance lead there. Now I can pull it through, snip the end off, maybe a bit more, just tin it up. Oh, that's a messy soldering tip. Right, I'm soldering this one to number 1, which is here. Just, yeah, I'll just turn the soldering iron up a bit. There you go. Alright, turn that back round that way so you can see it again. Just line these up so you can see it again. Alright, now we know balance lead 2, as you're looking down now. Alright, the second balance lead is going to battery 2 but at the top. So while we're here, I'm going to take the third balance lead, just like in that picture. Alright, slide it through to the bottom. There it is. Line it up with number 3, which is that one. Make sure that's level. Yep. It's a bit fiddly this, as you can see, but once again, if your hands are as shaky as mine, it'll be easier. Right. Snip the end off. Just tin it. And then connect the third one to number 3, but at the bottom. Done. Slide that cable out. Alright, now that is the awkward bit, right? Because you're sliding cables all over and landing, you know what I mean? That's the awkward bit. But now that's done, alright, well, we're on to, if I keep it that way you can see better, we're on to the easy bit now, because we've only got the black and the red, which we already said where they're going, alright, and we've got one cable left, right, which is number 2 as you're looking at the cables, and that's going to battery 2, which, if I remember my maths right, is I'm glad I put them numbers. I'll tell you what, I'm saying about only when you've made 1 or 2 of these. I've made a few of these and I keep getting my bloody numbers mixed up. It's because I'm talking, and that's not an excuse, it is. It's because I'm talking. I'm not, well, I'm concentrating, but I'm talking at the same time, trying to explain stuff, and you sort of like lose your way a bit. Right, just tin that one. And joking apart, you don't want to lose your way when you're doing this. It has to be right. You can't mess about. You have to get this wiring correct. It's super important to get this wiring correct, or you're looking at a bang. Okay. Right. So the second one is going to battery 2 at the top, just like that picture. If this is confusing, yeah, well, why is going all over the place, go back to that picture at the beginning, because that really does explain it perfectly. Right, push that down there to keep it neat. Right, now you've only got 2 left, and as I said, the red goes to the red, the black goes to the black, so that's simple. So let's just line these up. There's the red, the black I should say. Oh god, I'm going colourblind now. Get in there, hold that up. Just put a bit of tin on there. There you go. And then line this one up. There. And just put a bit of tin on that. That's a dirty soldering iron again. There you go. Right, now at this stage you want to do 2 things. The first thing you want to do, I'll zoom out a little bit. The first thing you want to do is get a multimeter, because that's all your wiring done. There's no more wiring, there's no more soldering, there's no more nothing. So turn your soldering iron off, turn all your bits and pieces off. Right, get your multimeter, set it to DC, And remember, we've made a 4 volt, a 4 cell LiPo, which should be round about the 14 volt mark. .24. I don't know if you can see that on the multimeter, but 14.24. So we know that's all fine. And there's one more check, safety check before you start to seal it all up, just in case. Get yourself a cell checker. This is a bloody old and it's been on my workbench yonks. But get yourself a cell checker. You want to check all cells are working. Right. Okay, cell 1. 3.6, cell 2 3.5, cell 3 3.6, cell 4 3.6. Yeah, so that's fine. So all 4 cells are reading and everything's fine, so you can start joining up, sealing up, and then you're ready to go. So there it is. Get yourself some Kapton tape. Kapton. I can never bloody pronounce it. Kapton tape. You can use electrical tape at this point. But Kapton tape is really good because it's for high heat installation. In other words, it's high heat resistance. So get yourself some of this, and you want to cover up, well, you can see what I'm doing, cover up all your bare wires. In fact, if you've ever, which you shouldn't, but if you've ever cut a bloody LiPo open, you'll probably see this stuff inside it. Don't worry how messy it is, you're going to be putting heat shrink round and stuff like that and everything anyhow, aren't you? Right, just turn that over. Oops. Right, now it's just a case of the heat shrink. Now, that's all your wiring done, and you've checked it with the cell checker, you've checked it with your multimeter, so everything is pretty fine. But I recommend, if you have one, and I have to stretch over, no I don't, I've got one here. If you have one, use a little smoke stopper. These are ideal, but you use any type of smoke stopper. Plug in, you're alright, that's the wrong way around. Plug in your battery to a smoke stopper, then plug it into your quad. If it beeps, great. You know you're happy, you know you haven't done nothing wrong. But it's just an extra little safety it's not a necessity at this point. But what I do recommend you do, I'm just looking for my heat shrink. What I do recommend you do, is before you charge this battery fully, don't charge it yet, plug it into your quad, power up your quad and everything, Right, because if you have made a mistake, it's best that the battery blows when it's not fully charged. Okay, so plug it into your quad, right, take your props off, plug it into your quad, power up your quad, put it down again. If there's no problem, there's no problem. Alright, but it's best to do it that way before you fully charge it, just in case you've made a mistake. But if you've done all exactly what I've said, alright, and followed all the checks, and sorry, about there I think, yeah, if you've done what I've said and then checked with your multimeter and then checked with your cell checker, right, you should be fine. As for your heat shrink, right, that's up to you. Right, this PVC heat shrink is great, but you can also get what you saw my other one wrapped in. Oh, I've got some here. It's like a rubbery, whereas this is real thin and melts really quick. This rubbery one, right, in one sense is better because it's got a good grip on it, right, but it takes a lot. In fact, is that the right size? I'll use it. Yeah, I might use this actually. Now what? Here's the blue one. That's just not the right size, so I've already cut this, so we'll use the blue one. Yeah, so the PVC one is a little bit more forgiving, because if you've made a mistake, you can pretty much cut a piece off, whereas the rubbery type, right, if you've made a mistake, it goes rock hard. Right, it just goes rock hard. Yeah, also though, with a PVC one, you don't need a lot of heat. With the rubber one, you need a lot of heat. Not the best job I've ever done, but not the worst. That's where that cast-on tape comes in handy as well. If you put a load of tape around, right, you're not going to get a short because, well, you've wrapped it up in the tape, so you don't have to panic if your heat shrink didn't cover every single bit. If you're worried about getting a short at this point, you can always put a bit more tape around, right, because these 18650 batteries, unlike your lipos, they don't puff up. Right, so the great thing about these as well, right, if you charge your lipo pack up and you know if you don't use it you have to discharge it and run the thing down, right, whereas with one of these, if you don't charge it, you just leave it until you go flying. If you've charged it up and you didn't fly that day, just leave it till you go flying. Right, you don't want to leave it for months and months, but you can leave it a week or two without any problems, because you have to think these are, in a matter of speaking, they're just like a Duracell battery that you buy from a shop. You go buy a Duracell battery, right, it's fully charged. It might have been in the shop for 2 or 3 months, it might have been in storage for 2 or 3 months before that. So yeah, so there you go then. Not great with a heat shrink actually, not brilliant with a heat shrink, but it'll do. it'll do. I will probably just put some over there, right, and probably just put some over there because it's bugging me and I like things to look neat and tidy, and that doesn't look neat and tidy. Right, so I'll probably stick either a bit more heat shrink on the edge and then shrink it in, or just a bit of tape or something, you know what I mean, just to make it look pretty. But yeah, so there you go then. And this is optional, but as a reminder, you can discharge these to 2.5 volts, right? 2.5 volts you can discharge these down to, right? It's a 3000 milliamp for when you're charging. And this is important. I put that on all of these just as an extra reminder, because you can be charging up a load of LiPo packs and then you want to charge up a couple of these, you have to switch to Li-on. Now apparently when you buy these fully made from shops like Gep RC or whatever, you can charge them either LiPo or Li-on. Alright, now I have no idea if you can do that if you make your own, so don't risk it. Charge them on Li-on, right? Do not, well, not Li-on, but you know what I mean, lithium ion, but Li-on. Charge them up on lithium ion, right? Don't charge them up as a LiPo. Okay, I believe I've covered everything. I tried to make it as detailed as possible and at the same time cover all different bits of information. So if there's any questions, just leave a comment and I'll be happy to get back to you. I will say this though, right? At the moment I have no need, right, to make 2S, 3S, 6S or anything. I'm only making these as 4S packs. I've made a few for my 5-inch quad, I've made a few for my 3-4-inch micros. Right, I don't need to make any 2S or 3S, so don't ask me to make a video about them, because I'm not going to buy, no disrespect, but I'm not going to go out and buy batteries just to make a 3S pack up and then never use it. It's just a waste of money. However, if you are interested in a 3S or a 2S or a 6S, leave a little comment saying if you ever do, and then in the future if I ever decide I want to make a 2S or whatever, alright, I'll knock out a video. But at the moment all I'm making is 4S because that's all I need. Okay then, I'm going to leave it there. Just turn this light off, see if it makes any difference. Yeah, it did. New light I've got, that's all. A little desktop, I'm boring you now. Okay then pal, it's a ground crew. I'm going to leave it there. Hope this helps. Any questions? And hopefully at the beginning my hand wasn't too shaky so you could actually see what I was actually doing. Okay then, cheers.